narrative. So as we talk about echoes of war, there's still not been no statement from the president, no communication on his thoughts towards it, on his feelings, on the use of excessive use of force on students, the barring of the play from showing, the disrespecting of court orders, all of that, no word. But indeed, there is always time to catch a flight to China.
Hey, Hapako, I catch flights of accountability. Eric and I were just like, ooh, we almost wanted to.
If you catch a feeling, catch a flight. Okay. Okay.
Ukichamka, it must be nice to have the option to leave.
And China.
8 days.
Right.
It might extend, maybe 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
It must be nice to have that option.
The trip to China, of course, had been planned for a long time. However, it's important that the president, this is a national issue. I think it's very, very important that, aside from the CSs who've spoken, the president himself should speak on this. Chris, our fixer, is on the call and he'd like to contribute to this conversation, as also we give the mic to the other fixers on the X Spaces. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Lati.
How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. First, regards to the two beautiful ladies over there.
Ladies?
Tumesalimika, tumepokea regards.
Okay, thank you so much. My input will be in relation to what the government said when the government, through the PS for Education, said that it had barred the non-teaching staff from training and coaching and presenting drama items to students. To me, that is completely impractical because I'm talking as a professionally as a teacher and by extension as a drama teacher. In school, you'll have language teachers being in charge of drama. Like myself, I'm in charge of drama in my school. But the challenge will be, I'll be a good teacher when it comes to training the play, for example. But I'll not be the best teacher for training, let's say, narrative. I'll not be the best teacher training solo verses. I'll not be the best teacher training, let's say, English plays because I teach Kiswahili. Get it? So how do we go about it? Myself, I'm in a private institution. The private institution can maneuver and find a way to go about it. But when you talk about the public sector, then it means then that if the public school that needs to go for competition, they'll have, because there's no, we do not have drama teachers employed with the JD being you are a drama teacher or a music teacher for that institution. The principals of schools will have to source from professionals from outside to come and train the learners. A school like Butere Girls is a girls' school. But in that play, Echoes of War, we also have male characters. Then, does it mean then that the playwrights should just, if it's a girls' school, then let's have playwrights doing plays for girls specific. And if it's a boys' school, then we have playwrights doing the plays for boys only. That will not work. Number two, as a trainer, when you're about to present your learners for a drama competition, and for this matter, you're talking about a national competition, you as a trainer, myself included, you need to be there all through. As a drama trainer, you are supposed to go there, train the learners, you are supposed to give them the spike, you are supposed to give them motivation before they go on stage. Looking outwardly, from what I've seen online, those girls from Butere showed up, yes. Did we have backdrops on the top of that bus? No. Did we see learners having costumes? What I saw learners putting on clothes. How do you present learners on a national stage without backdrops? We need to see backdrops on top of that bus. This is a national competition.
Yeah.
We needed to see learners coming out of that bus with the backdrops, going to prepare the stage. The item was happening at 8 a.m. Then it means they need to be there earlier, maybe sometimes an hour before, because you have to set the stage, you have to set the background, you have to set the light. That one takes more time than the actual play. The play can be a 45-minute play, but the setup can take close to 2 hours. You get it? If you deny the learners an opportunity to have that, first of all, psychological preparation the night before, when the director had been barred from accessing the village, wherever they were spending the night. That is adds to what we call psychological torture to the learner.
Right.
Number two, they've not been given an opportunity to set up the stage as they should. That's another challenge to them. Then number three, under duress, you're allowing them to go on stage without an audience. These are national events, without an audience, just they and the adjudicators and the security. That one was not so well done. And now to the government. All the plays and all the works of art that are presented to this nation, 99% of them are critical of what government does, and this is not the first government, and this will not be the first government to do with a play or a piece of art. Number two, I have that play in person. I have gone through it myself. Going through that play and going through the Shackles of Doom of 2013 by Cleophas Malala, in my own assessment, in fact, Shackles of Doom was more lethal than Echoes of War. Echoes of War, yes, perhaps maybe the government read through the lines, but looking at what we had in the Shackles of Doom in comparison to what we're having in Echoes of War, Shackles of Doom is absolutely more lethal than the Echoes of War. And this whole attention, the buzz around the Echoes of War, would not have been the case if the government would just have yielded to, not even yielding to anything, would just have allowed the play to go ahead, because by the fact that it went through from the zonal competition, all through now we're having it on the national stage, without much buzz about it, without much drama about it, then it means the government has simply shot itself on the head.
Sawa. Chris, thank you. Thank you for your call. Thank you for calling in as a fixer from Utawala and many other fixers online. Just before you even react to this, let's give the mic to these fixers who've been holding on for a bit. On X, you have been here, you've asked for the mic. Here, take the mic. You've talked to us as well on the comment section that you saw Shackles of War, you saw it in Mombasa. Talk to us about that and about the current play.
Thank you, Latif. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
I'm joining from Lodo in Turkana County. Probably I'm the only one from Turkana. Now, as I just mentioned, thank you everyone for bringing this on board. I was present, and I remember, attending the Shackles of Doom in Mombasa by the same author, Mr. Malala. And I think after a few years, I was lucky enough to join Talo Oil. And what I can just say is that, when they say that art is in Swahili kioo cha jamii, what was depicted in that play during those years, a few years after we discovered oil, is exactly what happened in the project by Talo Oil. So I think the listener just before me mentioned it and said that was far more lethal because it brought in an element of tribalism and stuff like that. Sometimes we try to avoid things that makes us uncomfortable, but it's always good to discuss them. Because I can tell you, I was part of the project in Turkana and in the oil and gas in Lokichar, and one of the drilling sites, for example, had over 91%. Kenyans from one community, and then the remaining 9% were expats from outside the country. It was so bad that at some point, the junior mess, where 100% of locals ate, had their meals, we served them with the leftovers of food that was eaten at the senior mess during lunchtime. And that is what they were eating in the evening. And people would go walk in to eat in the evening in those camps, and they would find that the rice is bad or the stew has gone bad because it was leftovers from the senior mess where the non-locals and the experts were eating. So what I can just say is that those who are experts in arts and these things should try, and all of us should try and make sure that we don't lose this space where people have a right to speak out and speak up of what is happening in this country. That's all I can say, Latif. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ukana Headman. Let's give the mic to Humphrey Machete, HM. You also had requested the mic. You have the mic, Humphrey.
Okay, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you're speaking from. So thank you so much, NTV, for giving me this time to speak. Okay, my name is Humphrey Machete. I come from Eldoret. Now, I want just to retort from what the government spoke, and I heard when the deputy Moura spoke, and he said that CS Matata was not was not in the TSC curriculum. So I just want to say that this is nothing but it was just an excuse. It was just an excuse, and I think the government had not sat down to think on what they could say about this. You can see that when I was still in school, I used to attend the music festival, and I can tell you that those they were not in the TSC they were not in the TSC registers. So
are you having feedback, Humphrey?
Okay, let me switch it off. Let me switch. Okay, what I was saying that the CS Magambo said that Matala is not in the TSC, but the two of the matter that this was just an excuse to get away with this reason, in that those people, this thing that it is here now, the drama festival, is just a curriculum activity. So we are allowed to invite anyone from outside, in that we are going to speak to the society. We are linking our students with the society, and the students are supposed to speak out what hurts them most. Like in the theme of this drama festival, it was about governance and corruption. So we are supposed to speak on governance and corruption, and the play that was here with us, it was about governance and corruption. So this was just politics, in that nile tu watu wa Butere they were being taught by CS, they were being taught by Madala. So it was just politics that Malala. So to me, I just think that this is just a political thing, and I'm not in with that. So I don't know what to say, but
thank you.
Just politics, because even in school we used to raise some even. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Humphrey. Humphrey Masheti from Eldoret. Asante sana. You had the mic. Asante for your contribution. We've got many more people who are asking for the mic. Request for the mic. Lyoto will look and give the mic to several people to speak this morning.
That's right. We've got Ngatia on, who is part of the team for Too Early for Buds, from scripting, of course, playing as well. Very, very, very informative play that has had several editions shown over time. Also very sensitive to some powers that be, If you've seen it, you'll know what I'm talking about. But of course, let's have Ngatia on. And I just want to ask you about putting on plays of this nature that are very political, very informative. What kind of pushback have you received? And are you seeing similarities in that and what's happening now with Butere? And would you say that from the script that you've read, it's anywhere near as inflammatory, quote unquote, as Too Early for Buds?
Hey guys, thank you for having me on. That's a very direct question, Mariam, is just saying how you ended it. Anyway, and thank you for sensitive is the right word to use here. So I would say I'd start at the end, and that script is nowhere near a lot of things that are being done on stages in this country or in this city. It's nowhere near things I have personally performed, to be honest. And with that in mind, then all the reaction we are seeing really looks like overreaction and very embarrassing overreaction. Because even when, say, the powers that we are sensitive to have reacted to our work, it's still been an overreaction, and some people could have seen it as provocation. And then to answer the first part of the question, so I think the one incident that has gotten most publicity is the Mkokoteni thing last year at the beginning of Maandamano. But of course, the Mkokoteni and the Brick stole the show. But I was meant to be, I was performing poetry from Diverse, which was supposed to be staged that weekend. And I learned a pretty fast lesson that Kenya police are not fans of poetry. I just thought any other poets should know that. But that's like the most public one. But before that, we've gotten reports while working on a production. Example, a former CS was very convinced that a production we did in 2019 and brought back last year was propaganda, and but it did not become overt hostility. We've had undercover police officers in the auditorium several times, at least 2 times last year. At least one of the times we had to be whisked off stage at the end of the performance and go to a safe house. But still, even all that is not as dramatic as the way these guys are responding to Butere girls, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my answer.
Gotcha, you're saying, casually.
Yeah.
We're just looking at each other.
We had to be whisked off stage.
We have.
No, but I've been to plays as well, and then sometimes, because creatives are just funny people, they'll just acknowledge, like, they are fun day in their room, just show yourself.
No way.
Because there will often be undercover police officers, during plays.
Yeah.
But to your point, you said a CS thought that one of the shows you put on was propaganda. Why was there thinking that it was propaganda? Was it because what you're doing, I'm assuming, is backed by research and fact, and then someone else reads into it as propaganda? Is that their own interpretation, or was there an agenda? That's what they would be asking. They'd say, like, what, Cleophas is using the kids, or so-and-so is using Too Early for Birds, Ngatia.
So first of all, even I learned that there were cops in the room while I was about to get on stage. It's like, Chadota, the stage manager, was like, na DCI, please enjoy the show. I'm like, what? And then lights on, cut it. Anyway, it's a weird situation, to be honest, where you just.
Hello?
I think you're dropping off. Yes. You're dropping off, Ngatia.
Yeah.
Hello.
I think he's
all right. Let me just.
Yeah, I think when you get online, you can come back. I think there's some issues that are coming in here, and it's about the constitution of freedom and right to express yourself. I see lawyer Eric Muriuki, who has been on Shika Mic here, is on the line. Eric, take the mic. And Wakili, is there a limitation to the freedom of expression in the Constitution?
Well, Latif, yes, there are limitations to the freedom of expression, but the same limitations, number one, they ought not to be arbitrarily imposed, and number two, they ought to be done in accordance with another written law, and that law must stand the test of an open and democratic society. So you cannot just make a law today saying that you're limiting drama for arbitrary reasons. But more importantly, what I wanted to contribute with regard to this play, the Butere Girls, number one, when you trace the history, you see that this is a play that was fought all the way from the lower levels. In fact, these girls are performing or were to perform at the national drama festivals pursuant to a court order that was issued in Kisii High Court, petition number 6 of 2025. Because when they performed at the regionals and they emerged, I think, third, they were left out of the winners' gala for the regionals, and they were told that orders from above have said they cannot perform the play. So what the government, the Ministry of Education and the other powers that be, I don't know who these powers are, what they have done is technical compliance with that court order. They have said you can go and perform. But then they have made it virtually impossible for these girls to perform the play because you saw the time they were required to perform, no audience, no backdrops, no journalists allowed. I mean, who would expect high school girls to perform drama in such a setting? It's not fair, to be honest. Number two, it is not a new thing for people from outside the school to write and direct plays. I mean, it has happened from the days when I was in high school. I was at Alliance High School between 2008 and 2011. And this very same director, Malala, used to write plays for Alliance High School and come to school to direct them. And these plays would go all the way to the nationals, and some of them would even win. So this thing that the ministry is now trying to come and cleverly say, oh, the plays are supposed to only be written and directed by teachers, that is balderdash. You notice that in Kenya, our schools are understaffed, they are under-equipped, they are underfunded. This teacher that you're saying should write a play, you realize that they have maybe 20 or 30 lessons in a week, sometimes even more. When will this teacher do that? Writing a good script, a proper play, will take, I think, a minimum of 20 hours of sitting down and making it and, taking this off and putting this back on. And directing it takes even more time. So this thing they are saying that, this is an outsider, shouldn't have done what? Why is it coming up now? Why wasn't it brought earlier? Then the other thing I want to say is that when you look at the statements that were made by someone like CS Murkomen with regard to shackles of doom back in 2013 and what they are saying now, you realize that we are a nation of hypocrites. Because we have hypocrites leading us, and they're saying one thing today because it suits them and their political agenda, saying something different the other day because that is the narrative that now suits them. I think the strategy that the government is employing here, and this is what many people are not seeing, is by persecuting these girls from Butere, by persecuting the board, by persecuting the teachers and the director of the play, they are trying to prevent a situation where in 2026 and 2027 National Drama Festivals, more schools come up with such similar plays, talking about the issues that are happening in the country. They want to make it so inconvenient for anybody imagining they can stage such a play that nobody will do that in future. Don't look at it as just targeting the Butere girls playing now. I think these guys are also playing the long game of next year and the year but one, because I'm sure next year and in 2027, such a play would have even a bigger impact. Finally, what I want to say, Latif, is these politicians who feel offended should come out and tell us clearly which line of dialogue they have a problem with, which part of the play they have a problem with. I have read the entire script of the Echoes of War, and if anything, in fact, the rules of drama festivals. I was in drama, by the way, for 4 years. The rules of the drama festivals and competitions are that for a good play or for a good story, you must have, the beginning, you must have the conflicts, the climax, and then there must be a resolution. When you look at the Echoes of War, at the end of the play, in fact, it's very unitary. It unites people. It brings people together so that they realize those ones who are overzealously trying to, protect the state and shooting others and all that, and the victims also, and the young people who are agitating, they realize they actually one and the same people. They have more in common than they have differences.
Okay, thank you.
So by the end of it, it brings them together.
Thanks, Eric.
So thank you.
Thank you. I think we want to be fair and give. There's so many people raising their hands. If you do get the mic, let's try and see if we can keep our points really to the point, because we want to allow as many people to contribute. I can see we still have Ngatia on, and I can see Ian Mbogwa had also raised his hand to come back and make a contribution. Ian, you spoke to us when we started this X space. You've listened to some of the reactions, some of the thoughts. Circle back. What are you gleaning from this, and what other contribution do you want to make?
As I said at the beginning, this thing has been blown out of proportion, and I'm glad that you mentioned that we need to get back on track. This is just going to blow over after a while. This is just one of the many things that happen to divert our attention. The fact that Ruto has not said anything, and he really doesn't care. When he was given names, what did he do? He embraced them. When Kasongo started, nobody could do it, could play it publicly, but he started having it played. So he's just showing you, I really don't care. So it really wouldn't surprise me when he comes back from China and says, bring those girls to State House. Let me watch it. So let's move on.
Right.
It's just one of those things that has happened. It won't be the last, but let's not get diverted. What are they trying to get our attention away from? Because now we're all looking at this. That's my take.
Thanks, Ian. I want to pull on that thread a little bit with Ngatia. We've had various ideas as to what the bigger picture here is, what we're being diverted from, why we're being diverted. What's your take on all of that? Is it a diversionary tactic, or is this something that could potentially get bigger, like Eric has said, in the coming years, and that's why they have to, stamp it out now? What's your thought process on that? Allow the conspiracy theorist in you to flourish.
I'm also going to need a reminder of what the earlier question was before Mitambo in the Arabia.
Yes.
And I'm not going to let the conspiracy theorists be thrive, because I agree with Ian. And I think what we need to do is also decide what we are going to deflect it towards, because the attention is here. It's whether we like it or not, the attention is on Butere girls and it's on theater, right? So where do we direct that attention? If indeed there is a plan on the other side, then to use this as a moment to set an example and stifle expression, then we ask us.
Oh, come on.
Then what can we do? And what into other plays that are similar purpose, because there's all like we support Butere girls for sure, but then everyone has but we also have other classic texts that a lot of Kenyans are familiar with, that a lot of Kenyans actually acted in and were examined in high school for different generations, and we can bring this back on stage now that attention is on theater. And then this becomes our contribution to whatever this moment is, and also a way forward for not just Butere girls, but for all the students who stood in solidarity with them, for them to see that there is actually a functional, well, or dysfunctional, it is not that discussion. There's an industry out there and a sector out there in which they can come into. Then we reach backwards. That's my only answer to that.
That's good.
I think that's quite good.
I think that's good. I think it's two truths. Diversionary, but that there is this moment.
And we can do something with it.
We can do something with it. I really like that now this creates a moment to say, how are we pouring back into theater? How are we amplifying it? Because here we are. Everyone, it's top of mind right now.
I'm laughing. It's because a thought just crossed my mind. So let's say it's diversionary. There are very many people in government who are talking and they are not aware of that game.
Right. Then they're just, they just want to be seen to be doing the right thing according to
the game.
The powers that be.
They are not aware that they are puppets in this whole thing, that whatever diversion is actually at play, they are the ones who are being used to divert.
Hey.
Wako tu hapo wanaongea wanazungumza sana.
Dare I say it's a lot of them probably.
Yes.
Who just want to be seen, because as the guests of the last week and a half have proven to us, the closer you are, the nicer you are, the more you say yes,
the more you get the goodie bag.
The more you get the goodie bags. So yes, you're right. It could be that a good number of them are just harping on this play and talking about, let's not have disorder and chaos and all of that, just to sound good, but they have no idea that they're basically a piece on a chessboard, just being used to divert things.
Yes.
Jackie Arco on X says, watching Monaisha Chizuga shows that she's trying to create something that wasn't there and she needs to be called out for being myopic. We had plays in schools, and in Songari we had Ian Bogwa and the late James Falkland coming in to help us with rehearsals. Where into the late evening. So it's not the first time that we're seeing an external person, just like Erica said. It's the same thing. Malala went to Alliance High School and he was teaching the boys. He actually wrote this play for the boys and was actually taking them through the rehearsals. It's not the first time. Is it that the government was not aware?
I was going to say, isn't it unfortunate that you can't just run a background check? You know, before you come to this microphone. A little bit. I know sometimes we're learning on the go, but to make such a statement, in a sense, really shedding light badly on somebody whose intentions are not what you are alluding them to be, without having done some background, is very disturbing. Zil Zola on YouTube, I said X space with laughing emoji, like Imebamba. Writing a play is not as easy as it may sound. It requires a lot of time and creativity. My prince is reflecting on something that I was just thinking about. All the contributions. I love that we've had a lot of contributions from teachers, playwrights, taking us through the process of what happens by the time you're going through these processes, coming to the point where Butere Girls is. These are the different things that you would have passed through. So I like that my prince is reflecting to that. Ngugi Mwangi, good job, guys. And a lot of other people saying art isn't, I like this one by the Kikombe. Art isn't meant to soothe, it's meant to stir. If art never made you squirm, it would not be doing its job.
It's not meant to...
It's not meant to papasa
bas,
you.
baba, bas, no.
Aki. Aki bas. It's not meant to do that at all.
Niapa.
It is meant to stir. It's meant to stir emotion. That's on YouTube. Somebody else here on X had said something, loving Fixing the Nation. I love that it's on all the platforms. And I love the way that it's injecting common sense into our leaders and expelling ignorance from some sycophants. It wasn't a play, this is Wycliffe O'War, until fathers started chasing their own daughters with loaded guns. That's how bad things are in this government. If Kibaki could see this, he would say, watoto wasome, kelele ni anini. Shida iko wapi? Watoto wasome, kelele ni anini. Shida iko wapi?
We have a fixer on the call. It's Anne from Thika. Anne, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Fixing the Nation. Thank you for calling.
Oh, thank you very much. I like the trio every morning.
Thank
you.
And I want to contribute to the current debate, but mine is simple. I have two questions to ask the people who misbehave towards these girls, because I'm a retired teacher and a former teacher of lit. And I may not repeat what the others have said about literature being used to expose the good and the evil in the society. However, my worry is it a fight against Cleophas as a personality, or is it a fight against what is being put across? The government should come and clear the air on this. Last night I was listening to one of the local stations, and one of the speakers, an MP defending the action, brought in personal issues towards Cleophas Malala. And I was wondering now, personal issues, when you say you can, it's not about a play, it's about not trusting Malala with girls. I think we have leaders who are totally confused. Totally confused, and not sure of the goodwill they have towards Kenyans. Thank you very much.
Mwalimu, let me ask you, so you taught lit, and in your schools, obviously, in the many years that you taught before you retired, there used to be plays. Are there times when in your schools you brought in external people to help in either writing, in directing, in helping your students act out the plays?
First of all, probably I should have mentioned there also was a drama patron. And during the times of Munishi, if you recall.
Yes.
When Munishi was also very active in drama.
Yes.
But I personally, as a teacher, one time was hired to train a school in Muranga. But then I was already retired, but that was on verse speaking. But that is not wrong. I think when it's about buying a product from somebody, what happens is how do you present it? It's a product just like buying a book from a bookshop. But we've had similar presentations in the form of songs in the forms of books, I mean, written literature, apart from just a play, in public speaking. Why haven't those people been picked? But this time round, when in Kenya we have leaders who always want to use, when you have a noble idea as a leader, there is somebody who is, because they have personal issues with you, they have to bring you down. Unfortunately, this time round, they wanted to use the Butere girls. And somebody asked earlier, how did they pass the zonals? How did they pass the next level until they came to the national? Did somebody not see that it was a dangerous place and stop it at that level? Why excite these children when, performing at the national level is something that really motivates these young people?
Yeah.
How sure are you next year they'll have that heart again? But we are killing the spirit of the young people. Sorry
Indeed.
to say, in Kenya, something is totally wrong.
Indeed. It's a badge of honor, actually, when you, throughout your life, say, I was in drama. We went to the nationals.
We went to the national.
Yeah.
We performed at State House.
We performed at State House.
That's usually a thing to brag.
And to water
hold
down,
dear.
to water that down, to water that prestige
It's
is also,
horrible.
in the long term, you're watering down something that was held in such high regard.
Right.
It's unfair. So
Because
can I
now
just plug in here and say, I did the solo verses and poems, and I went to the nationals.
Evo too. And now,
something like
other students boycotting as well, saying if Butere girls can't, we're standing with them, we don't want to. Then what does that do for now arts as a whole, even for the prestige of performing at State House or wanting to have your art shown on a national platform? There's so much that's been eroded and taken away.
And the program itself. So you have a school drama festival as a program run by the ministry, and then you're starting now to poke these things into it. So students will be like, so why am I doing it?
But remember what Eric said, our lawyer who Shika might, because again, he was really looking at long game. And I think we can see a lot of people are starting to chambo and be like, by the way, because he talked about how it's just going to be a nuisance. You want to do this, but given what happened last year, wacha tusishike hivyo. Let's just have a different concept.
Tutatolewa tu hapa kwa sub-county,
And
tufanye play ingine ya mambo, kidogo. Many people who want to contribute as well on the X Space. And I think we have Lesan Jom, who's a medical tourism consultant, according to his profile. Ninja Turtle. You have the mic, Ninja Turtle. Let's hear from you.
Thank you very, very much. It's very, very unfortunate. And I keep, just like you said, Eric, this could be diversionary. And when you hear people blabber, not really like reading between the lines, it's quite unfortunate. So right now, Malala is not qualified to direct a play. We are forgetting that we currently have a CS who last week was boldly on TV saying that they have a friend who is being treated for dialysis. Now, listening to Monesha Chizuga yesterday, that was very, very shallow of her. I don't know what her intentions were, but it was actually low. That is actually very, very low. Right about now, just like Abel said earlier on during the show, they have done it. Let's pick it from here. It is not the end. Actually, if you took time to go through the plays that were aired during this particular festival, right down from the zonals, this was just one of them. Everyone is injecting and injecting and injecting. And you see right now, the government has actually triggered these young people. These are people who are actually getting voters' cards. They're actually getting IDs. These are actually people who will be in the ballot. Okay? When we talk of draining the swamp, ini mwosho moja. That is what I would say for now.
All right. Thank you, Ninja Turtle. I'm seeing Murithi raising his hand. Let's give you the mic, Murithi. Your reaction to what Ninja Turtle was just saying, or to the conversation at large?
I was looking for Ian, but he left. But let me just contribute as I'm going. Draining the swamp must be done. Okay? So all this stuff is just a distraction. but we must drain the swamp.
What does draining the swamp look like? Mureithi? That's okay, he's dropped off. But yeah, what does draining the swamp look like is what we're interested in. Because if it, like we said, keep our eye on the ball. If this is a diversionary tactic, what else should we be looking at? If still this is the problem, how do we protect then our right to expression? How do we protect these young women continuously? How do we make sure that this doesn't become a kawaida occurrence during drama festivals? So then, I don't know, what does draining the swamp in this case look like for you guys? It's a tall order.
Yeah, I mean, it has held true to what it was when it was first said, last year, which is we need to do away with all. And I think when Cyprian came the other day, he was trying to be like, well, then let's talk about how to do that as us, the people. So there's a bit of there's a thread there. And I think Mureithi is just going back to, look, we've said this before, we're saying it again. The emphasis is if we want things to change, there needs to be an overhaul of this. I think that's what I understand of what it seems like. And then, yeah, Fushika might give us quite a practical example of how to do it.
Yeah.
What about for you, Mariam, Eric?
Draining the swamp. Yeah, for me it's tuanze upya. But it's very much institutional fixes that need to happen. It's a shift internally in the people, it's a shift in the institutions, it's a shift in the leadership. So it's a very long thread. Draining a swamp, as it sounds like a tall order because it is. Even if you think about it, before even it's metaphorical, how do you drain a swamp? The water is thick and sludgy and dark and murky. How do you from there? Now that's what we're trying to do. But for now, step one is, how do we not tear gas children? How do we hold people accountable for these actions? If police officers are being sent from Nairobi and is it Kiambu or Machako, sorry, all the way down there to go and, I don't know, provide services at a time like this, what's happening there? Who can we hold? What does the IG say on this? This is endangering their lives, it's endangering their safety and their health. Like, let's start from there. Let's then go into why were they barred from performing initially? Okay, why was a court, or if a court order held that they should perform, why were they performing without props, without a director, without, like that? Let's start and then we pull from there.
I like that, even as we're amplifying the voices of Butere girls, thespians, the world of art, where do we start that train of accountability? It's 2-3 truths happening in parallel. Keep your eye on all the issues that are yet to be addressed. Hold space, protect our children, and begin to push for accountability in this issue. Yeah.
So there's a lot that's we've said this evening. I mean, this morning, there's a lot that's been said, and everybody who's joined us, whether you're following the conversation on radio, Nation FM, or on TV, those who've been able to call in, those who've been able to post their comments on YouTube and on Facebook, and those who've posted on X, those who've spoken on the X space. There's a lot that it speaks of, and like Ian has said, yeah. Even as we talk about this, and also Janet, you've said it, even as we talk about this, let's also remember that there's still a lot that's going on, and we've got to keep our eye on the ball. Point is to identify the ball and to know which ball to keep the eye on. Otherwise, there'll be too many balls in the air, and you'll be confused, and there'll be colorful balls.
Right.
Okay, so which one am I?
No, have eyes on all of them.
Which one?
We're an army.
Maybe we assign each other. You get the red one,
Thank
I
you.
get the yellow one, you get the black one, and then...
They want it to be many balls in the air. That is the strategy.
All right.
So there's what we keep tracking of what our newsroom is working on, Nation.Africa newsroom, and we call that the news fix at the top of every hour. We've got still a lot more as we go into the weekend that our newsroom is looking at this week.
That's right. Quite a lot as far as the news fixes are concerned. But just as we wrap up, we want to look at the controversy around the schools and colleges drama festival. The fact that there was a statement actually issued from the police as far as the controversy, and the National Police Service confirmed it had received credible intelligence that on April 10th, suggesting some individuals were planning to disrupt the event. As a result, officers were deployed to implement stringent security measures. at Lyons Primary School, the festival venue. But while trying to secure the event, it's the conduct of the security personnel themselves that's now under sharp scrutiny. There have been allegations of misconduct by police officers deployed to provide security at the venue. In response, this Inspector General has ordered Internal Affairs to investigate and present a report within 21 days. The matter is being looked into by IPOA and other independent bodies. The police have defended their presence at the festival, describing themselves as a responsible security organ, while reaffirming their commitment to upholding the highest fidelity of the constitutional, operational independence, impartiality, and political neutrality. I've seen empty words before, but this is new.
Mariam, end the weekend.
No. Muhimu, sound bites muhimu.
End the weekend.
Just Eric, before I can go fine, but while reaffirming their commitment to upholding the highest fidelity of to the Constitution, operational independence, impartiality, and political neutrality.
When people want to destroy you, they make you mad. Somebody said that just now. They make you mad.
Sawa. Some positivity. Something big is happening on, Route 111, Jano.
Sorry?
Route 111. Route 111 is the route to Ngong, right? So Route 111 is going to have some new way of doing things. Some 40 high-capacity buses from 10 licensed SACCOs, that is Super Metro, Metro Trans, Nankis, and others, will operate under one centralized management system. It's being launched today in a flag-off that's taking place. It's a new era for Nairobi's chaotic public transport system, with the one-month pilot that's being led by the Nairobi Metropolitan Area Transport Authority, NAMATA, in partnership with JICA, aims to introduce a structured, safe, and efficient public bus system along the high-traffic Ngong Road corridor from CBD to Ngong Town. So all these mats, Kina Super Metro, Kina Metro Trans, Kina Nankis, going along Ngong Road all the way to Ngong, will be operating under one system. Scheduled services running from 4 a.m. to 10 p.m. on weekdays, every 5 minutes during peak hours, 10 minutes off peak, with weekend frequencies ranging from 10 to 20 minutes. Fixed distance-based fares are being introduced. Rides from CBD to Ngong are going to be 100 bob, capped at 100.
Okay. This kicks off when today?
Today.
Amazing.
Today. So we're going to the weekend. Ingia matda za Ngong, by the way, you just test and see, okay.
Alafu.
Unalipisha ngapi?
Tuambie.
Ngong 100. Coming back to town 100. Wacha nilipe.
Ingia at 5.
Ingia at 5. It's off.
That's the 5. That's
5 peak.
Up on your
5 p.m.
Yes.
Aha. Okay. Thank you for following us this week. Thank you for joining our community of fixers, for contributing. This is what we do every day, one conversation at a time, and we thank you very much. We want to wish you a happy weekend, and then we'll be back on Monday. Sindio? Mambo ni mengi. Masani machache, but conversations lazima ziendelee. Fixing the nation, one conversation at a time. Janet, say goodbye for the weekend.
Goodbye for the weekend.
See you guys on Monday.
Nisa.